Hi everyone, welcome to Back to School Night. My name is Dr. Tanya McMartin. Kids just call me Mrs. Mac, and I am excited to be your child's 7th grade science teacher this year. This is a quick presentation about how 7th grade runs at Back to School Night, so that way you can watch it at your leisure. I'll also be posting this video on Canvas for people that couldn't make it to Back to School Night. Let's get started. Just to give you a little bit of a rundown about me, I majored in marine biology at Cal Poly San Luis Obispo. I worked at SeaWorld Life before teaching. I have my master's and my doctorate in education, and I've been a teacher for quite a few years now. I've taught at Bernardo Heights and Oak Valley Middle School. I went to Connect Academy for a year, and my final stop on my career is here at Twin Peaks. I like to change it up and learn new things. And when I change schools, it helps me do that. I enjoy making science fun, and my number one goal is for your student to love science when they leave my class. To give you a little rundown on how to navigate through my middle school science classroom, I use 3 applications pretty much faithfully every day. My plan is the dashboard that we use to launch everything from Canvas to Synergy to Flipgrid to you name it. But this is the dashboard that our students are using. Canvas is where I post all of my work. It also is where I post what's happening in class every day through the daily agenda. And it's also where you can find the most up-to-date grades. Parent View and Synergy is the application where grades are posted to report cards and also where we record attendance. So you can see if your student was marked absent in one class, that would show up on Synergy. If you want the most up-to-date grades, go to Canvas, and then report cards you would find back on Synergy again. How can you help your middle schooler? Most common question I get is, my kid's in middle school, this is terrifying. How do I help them be successful in middle school at such a tumultuous time in their life? There are 6 little tips that I give to parents. The first thing I can tell you is to get them what they need. My class runs entirely digital, so that means that really all they need is a Chromebook, headphones, and a charger, and that's it. If they bring those 3 things to a class, they should be fine. I have a couple of backups in terms of a charger and headphones, but I do not have backup Chromebooks. Sometimes they can get them through the library, but they're not always available. So bringing a charged Chromebook will help your student tremendously. At home, what you can do is give them a place to study. One of the most difficult things to do as a middle school student is to get your homework done when there's a lot going on. So finding them a quiet place without distractions, no cell phone, no TV, no rambunctious teenagers or siblings running around the room, that will help them a lot. Create them a routine. Just like you would take them to sports practice every day, they should have a time that they do their homework. So maybe soccer is from 4 to 5:30 and homework is from 6 to 7:30, whatever you decide. But creating a Monday through Friday schedule where they get all their work done will help your middle schooler be tremendously successful. This year, I want you to practice being a silent partner, which means that your child is in middle school, and middle school is the time that we practice how to be an older student, a young adult, and checking their grades, but doing it silently, but most importantly, having them check their grades and follow up on missing assignments and email their teachers. This is the time to teach them that independence. So I always say 7th and 8th grade is the time to learn how to be a student on your own. If they need to contact me, you can contact me through email. I also have a Google phone number. I'll flash it one more time at the end of the presentation. But you want your student to reach out to me. As much as I love to hear from you, I want to hear from them first, especially if it has to do with their education. So make them email you or email me, and CC it to you is a great skill to learn how to do. Grades are earned by them, not you. You've already done your middle school time. I've already done my middle school time. So let's see what they can do on their own. Independence is number one thing that you could teach your students this year. Electronics in class. My class is entirely digital. I try to save paper because I know the teachers in classrooms go through a ridiculous amount of paper. Your student has the opportunity to create a paper spiral if they want, but otherwise I teach them how to do everything entirely digitally. So that means if they build a digital notebook, they learn how to graph online, they learn how to do everything on the computer. If your student has opted to use a paper notebook, they've already told me so, and they should be bringing a paper spiral to class every day. No social media during school. Cell phones, they are not required, contrary to what your middle schooler might tell you. Your middle schooler does not need a cell phone to survive middle school. They can come to school without a cell phone and be just fine. But if they do have a cell phone, we ask them to put it in their backpack and turn it off. We certainly don't want them snapping or using Instagram or any of those other applications during the course of the day. The 3 school apps we've already talked about. Headphones, if they can shove them in their backpack, are much appreciated. And no textbook needed. Everything I do is online. Even the textbook I use is online. What are we going to be learning this year? We run through the basic information about lab safety and practice and experimental design. We do ecosystems and weather and climate and basic chemistry, the impacts of tobacco on the human body, and we also have a human reproduction unit. Which brings us to probably the scariest part of our conversation today. We do teach human reproduction at the end of the year. It is the last 3 weeks of instruction. So you still have lots of time. The curriculum is going to be available for about 10 days before we launch it in the classroom. We started about May. But you can see here on the screen, we cover basic male and female anatomy. We cover characteristics of healthy relationships. We talk about virally versus bacterially transmitted sexual infections. And we cover general information of STIs, such as symptoms, protection, and testing. Know that probably the most interesting unit too, by the way, I also want to call out attention to is human trafficking. This is a pretty intense conversation that we have. So district policy and my policy as well is always to teach that abstinence is the best policy. So every time when we talk about statistics of pregnancy or statistics of birth control or contraception, we're going to go back to abstinence as the most effective way to stay away from sexually transmitted infections and also pregnancy. So you can opt to take your child out. There is a permission slip that they can sign. If that permission slip is not signed, if it's not returned, it's assumed that you are okay with your child being in this unit. So you're only going to sign that permission slip if you want them not to participate. If they choose not to participate, it has no negative impact on their grades. They will be asked to go to the library. I have a separate curriculum, and they'll be asked to do that instead of participating in that unit. You can always ask me later on as we get closer towards the end of the year. Like I said, it's not happening until late May, so you got lots of time. Homework is probably the most interesting conversation that we have with students. I know this sounds crazy, but I hate homework too, just as much as your middle schooler is, because I also believe that kids need to be kids outside of school. So therefore, I don't assign homework that's just to be done at home. I feel like that is really tough on kids. So if I do have classwork, which of course I do, I give them time in class to finish it. If they cannot finish it in class, then it's given to them to finish at home. If you have a student who is complaining of a lot of homework in science, chances are it's because they haven't used their class time wisely. They're either chatting with their friends, they're gaming on their laptop. They can watch their laptops, by the way, and shut it down. But they're pretty sneaky sometimes, and they will try to pull up a game or another tab and do that instead of doing their homework. So if they're coming home with homework, it's because they're not using their class time wisely. At the end of the year, like I said, my number one goal is to make your child love science. So to do that, I have a lot of experiments and activities that we're going to do. And that's a really expensive undertaking. So we do ask for donations. We know that we ask a lot. Science is different than other subjects. So we ask that students either donate $20, which would be much appreciated. We also have an Amazon wish list that's open all year long. You can donate through the POWA Unified donation site. Just go to Twin Peaks website and you'll see my name in the drop-down list. You can also write a check, PUSD, TPMS, and then write my name in the memo line. Much appreciated. And you can also check out my Amazon list that I keep restocking stuff all year long. We know we ask a lot, and we really appreciate any of our parent support. It helps us make science really fun for kids, and that is our number one goal. This is a pretty short presentation. It goes really fast, but I hope that I answered all your questions. If you need to find me, you can find me either through email or also through my Google phone number that's here on the screen, conveniently covered up. No, just kidding. 858-376-7527. I hope you have a great evening. I look forward to working with your child this year. Thank you. Bye-bye.